Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Disneyland Hotel Diary. Today, we are diving deep into a hotel that so many of you have asked about, mostly because of its incredibly low price. We're talking about the Budget Inn Anaheim.
And that really gets us to the big question, doesn't it? Is booking one of the absolute cheapest hotels right next to Disneyland a brilliant money-saving hack, or is it a recipe for a vacation disaster? Let's find out.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll tackle the location. Then we'll peek inside the rooms. After that, we'll have a little showdown, the good versus the gross. We'll give you our final verdict and then leave you with some tips from people who've actually stayed there. Okay, first things first. Location, location, location. You know that for a Disneyland trip, this is everything. I mean, being able to just walk back to your room for a midday nap instead of dealing with trams and parking garages, that's a game changer. So how does the Budget Inn measure up? Well, the numbers here are pretty impressive. It has an 84 out of 100 walk score. For those of you who don't know, that's officially in the very walkable zone. It means you can definitely leave your car parked and just use your own 2 feet to get to the magic. And what does that actually feel like? Well, it means you are super close to in-park food spots and major attractions. I mean, we're talking about being able to see the fireworks from the hotel, according to some guests. You really can't beat that kind of convenience, and it's a huge check in the pro column. Okay, so the location is a major win. But what about the room itself? You know, the place you actually have to sleep? Well, my friends, this is where the story gets, a little tricky. The reviews are all over the place. On the one hand, you get reviews like this from Chris and Deleta, who straight up called it an excellent choice. They're talking great value, super clean, had everything they needed. This is exactly what you hope for from a budget hotel, right? Simple, clean, no problems. But then, you see this, a review from Stacy D that starts with gross and goes on to talk about bugs, lots of them. It sounds like a total nightmare. It's such a wild contrast. It's almost hard to believe they're talking about the same place. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What's actually in the room? You get the basics for sure. AC, a fridge, free Wi-Fi, and it's cool they have family rooms available. But the list of what's missing is kind of telling. No daily cleaning service, no coffee pot, and, based on reviews, maybe no modern plumbing. And perhaps most importantly, no peace of mind.
So that brings us right here, to the heart of it all. We gotta put the amazing perks right next to the really troubling problems to figure out what's really going on.
And hey, real quick, if you're finding this breakdown helpful, do us a huge favor and just take a second to hit that subscribe button and like this video. It honestly helps us so much and lets us keep making more of these for you. Thanks a bunch.
Okay, this slide is the whole story. The good column is seriously tempting. That low price, free parking, which is like finding a unicorn in Anaheim, and being able to walk to the parks. Amazing. But then you look over at the gross column and yikes. It's not just bugs and backed up pipes, we're talking about multiple reports of staff just walking into rooms with do not disturb signs up. And even worse, some really alarming allegations of theft that ended with police reports being filed. That is a massive red flag.
So, with all of that out on the table, it's time for the final verdict. And look, this isn't a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. It really depends on who you are as a traveler and what you're willing to put up with. So who could actually make this work? This hotel might be for you if, and it's a big if, your number 1, 2, and 3 priorities are saving money. If you're a rope drop to fireworks kind of park warrior who literally just needs a bed for a few hours and you're willing to roll the dice on some pretty big potential issues, then maybe the savings are worth the gamble.
Now, who should run away and never look back? You should absolutely avoid this place if cleanliness is even slightly important to you. If the thought of bugs would just completely ruin your vacation vibe, stay away. And honestly, if you value your privacy and the security of your belongings, given those really serious reports, this just isn't the one. The stress is not worth the savings.
All right, let's wrap this up with a little advice from past guests. And no surprise here, just like everything else about this hotel, the tips are completely at odds with each other.
And this just says it all, doesn't it? You've got Susan S. with a perfectly reasonable tip if you've decided to go for it. But then you've got Stacy D. with a much more definitive piece of advice. Book elsewhere. It perfectly captures the 2 totally different realities of staying at this hotel. So it all comes down to this one question.
The Budget Inn could save you hundreds of dollars on an expensive Disneyland vacation. But you have to ask yourself, is that money worth the risk of bugs, a dirty room, and some really serious allegations of theft and invasion of privacy? That's the real trade-off, and you're the only one who can decide if it's a risk you're willing to take.